Once upon a time, in a bustling city in Western Australia, there lived a young man named Johnathan. Johnathan was a friendly young man who always had a smile on his face, and he was known for his kind heart and helpful nature. He had many friends and acquaintances, but he felt that something important was missing in his life. One day, Jonathan's wise uncle visited him and noticed his nephew's troubled thoughts. Wanting to help, he called Johnathan and told him, "I know what you need. Go to my garden and plant these 3 golden seeds, and then return and tell me what happens." Intrigued, Johnathan went to his uncle's garden, dug 3 holes, and planted the seeds. He watered them and waited patiently to see what would happen. Every day Johnathan would check on his seeds, hoping to see some growth, but nothing seemed to be happening. After a few weeks, he started to feel disappointed and wondered if the seeds were even alive. Unable to contain his curiosity any longer, he decided to dig up the seeds and inspect them. To his surprise, he found that one seed had sprouted and was growing rapidly, reaching up towards the sun. The second seed showed no signs of life at all, and the third seed looked like it had begun to rot. Confused by these results, Johnathan returned to his uncle and explained what had happened. His uncle, with a knowing smile, said, "Each seed represents your money. The way you plant them will decide your future. Tell me, where did you plant each seed?" Johnathan replied, "I planted them all in the same spot in your garden." His uncle then said, "That is not possible. Each seed needs to be planted in a different way." And so the uncle took Johnathan back to his garden to show him how to properly plant each seed. Then he led Johnathan to plant again 3 seeds. After a few weeks, he is ready to check Jonathan's effort. First, they went to where Johnathan had planted the seed that was growing rapidly. It was now wilting and drying up. The uncle said, "You planted this seed on the side of the road, where it received a lot of sunlight and was easily accessible. This is just like spending all your money on immediate pleasures and luxuries. You may get to enjoy those things for a while, but eventually you will run out of money and be left with nothing." As they walked away from the dying plant, the uncle continued, "Think of someone who wins a big lottery. They suddenly have a lot of money and start buying expensive cars, a big house, and designer clothes. But within a few years, they are back to being broke, because they spent all their money without thinking about the future. That is the danger of spending all your money without planning. You may think you have a lot now, but it will disappear fast." Next, they came across the second seed, which had shown no signs of growth at all. The uncle said, "You've planted this seed in the shade of a large tree, away from the sunlight and water, just like saving all your money in a bank account with no investments. It might be safe, but it will not grow. People who save all their money usually do want invested in things that can make more money or provide them with other benefits, so the money stays the same amount and doesn't have the chance to grow over time. This is why having an emergency fund is important, but it should not be all your money. Otherwise, you will not be able to build wealth." Then they reached the third seed, which had started to rot. The uncle said, "You planted this seed in a pot filled with old soil and did not water it regularly. This is like investing your money in harmful things like drugs or alcohol. Such investments do not bring positive returns and eventually destroy everything you have put into them. Drug addiction is a prime example of this. People become addicted to drugs and end up losing all their money, their health, and their families. Alcoholism is another destructive habit that can ruin lives and lead to severe financial, physical, and emotional problems." As Johnathan listened to his uncle's words, he understood that each type of investment requires care and attention to grow and produce good results. Just like planting seeds, he realized that spending money on fleeting pleasures would not bring lasting happiness or financial security. While saving money is essential for emergencies, keeping all of it in a bank account without investing, it could lead to financial stagnation. Finally, investing in harmful substances or activities would only result in loss and destruction. Johnathan asked his uncle, "So then what should I do? How can I make my money grow and become abundant?" His uncle smiled and replied, "The 4th seed is with you. I planted the same 3 seeds in my garden, but you did not see them grow because you did not have the right knowledge. Now let us go to my orchard, and I will show you how to plant the 4th seed." They walked through a beautiful orchard filled with trees, laden with delicious fruits. The air was sweet with the scent of blossoms, and the sound of birdsong filled the air. Johnathan marveled at the sight before him and asked his uncle, "How did you create this amazing orchard?" His uncle pointed to a small sapling in a far corner and said, "It all started with this tiny seed." Before going to his uncle's explanation, please don't forget to subscribe if you like after watching this video, so you will have more stories and lessons to dig in. Then his uncle said, "I planted it in rich soil, watered it daily, and provided sunlight and care. Over time, it grew into this strong tree that bears delicious fruit every season. From the moment the first fruit appeared, I knew that my efforts had paid off. The tree not only provided me with food, but also gave me more seeds to plant and grow my orchard." As Johnathan stood there listening to his uncle's words, he realized that planting the fourth seed was unlike the others. It required patience, dedication, and proper care to grow. Just like nurturing a young tree, he understood that making his money grow and become abundant required a different approach. He had to be willing to wait for the returns on his investments and not expect instant results. Moreover, he needed to learn about the different ways to invest his money, such as in stocks, real estate, businesses, or education. By educating himself and seeking professional advice, he could make informed decisions about where to invest his money and increase its value over time. Furthermore, Johnathan learned that providing the right environment and care for his investments was crucial for their growth. This meant diversifying his investments, spreading risks, and regularly monitoring and adjusting his portfolio based on market conditions and his financial goals. It also required him to educate himself about personal finance, understand his risk tolerance, and develop a long-term perspective on his investments. Finally, Johnathan understood the importance of starting small and being patient. Like the sapling in his uncle's orchard, his investments would not bear fruit immediately, but with consistent care and attention, they would grow and multiply over time. He realized that true wealth was not about having a lot of money right now, but about making his money work for him and provide abundance in the future. With newfound determination, Johnathan began to implement his uncle's teachings. He started by educating himself about personal finance and investing, learning about the different options available to him and understanding the risks and potential returns of each. He set aside a portion of his savings to invest in a diversified portfolio of stocks, real estate, and businesses. He also sought the advice of a financial advisor who helped him develop a long-term investment strategy aligned with his financial goals and risk tolerance. Over time, Johnathan's investments began to grow and multiply, providing him with a steady stream of income and financial security. He continued to educate himself about personal finance, refine his investment strategy, and adjust his portfolio as market conditions changed. And as Johnathan's wealth grew, so did his generosity. Inspired by his uncle's example, he began to share his knowledge and resources with others, helping them plant their own seeds of financial abundance. And so Johnathan's journey from a young man with limited financial knowledge to a wealthy and generous philanthropist continued. He lived the rest of his life with financial freedom and a deep sense of fulfillment, all because he had followed his uncle's advice and planted the fourth seed. Thanks for watching and sparing your time. We hope you will have something to learn from this.